Human health. Yes, since Americans are very concerned about health, so you don't really need to explain the basic ideas about health. What you need to do is focus directly on the problem, which is overweight and obesity, and give clear statistics and use the references here about how it's increased recently, and these numbers are good, but even in the last 10 years, I know it's increased. So the problem is getting worse. Now you're going to shift to the schools and the school cafeteria food. And I think that's very logical. That's one thing that we can control and manage and improve more easily than what happens in the house or the supermarket. So, a little problem here. Study shows there's a decrease in the number of students who don't take. Okay, you have to, I think there's an increase in the number who don't eat breakfast. Not a decrease. But anyway, check that one. That means they're eating less, but they're not concentrating as much, you're saying. Well, that's really another problem. They're not eating enough. But I don't think you should mention it here. The real problem is what they're eating. The quality of food is not helping their bodies properly. And you need to be very specific about what junk food is, about the fats, the sugars that you are considered for junk food, because some natural food might seem like junk food. Some cheese has a lot of fat, and obviously we cannot force children to eat certain things, but we can control some of their choices, limit some of their choices, and emphasize healthy, natural food that will help them in the long run. For this kind of research, I think you're mostly going to be using what the experts say. So you need some professors and other experts giving their opinion about this. Now you're going into how they are sedentary. They're not active. This is really another problem, and I don't think we can solve this problem very easily. So I think you're better off just focusing on the school food. That is a real issue that we can focus on. What the children do in the house and how the parents treat them, that's very complicated. It's hard to make any quick, easy solution to improve that for the children's health. So the most direct way is really focus on good school food, I would say. And by the way, some children do bring their lunch from home, and we have no control about what they bring. Although sometimes in some schools they will say you cannot bring certain kinds of snacks or ice cream to the school because it's a bad effect or influence on the rest of the students. So we already control that a little bit. But you need to be realistic here, and you need to talk about we have recently begun to improve school food a little bit. Maybe we can do more now and find other ways. But you have to admit that children are eating a lot of processed foods that is very tasty and hard for them to stop eating. Part of the problem is they get used to the high sugar, high fat food, and then they expect it in the school. So this is a very complicated problem, but the schools can do more, I think, to try to solve it. And the school is not responsible for making the children enjoy their food. The school has to think more long-term about the real health needs of the children and society. So try to emphasize that. Like I said, as you go on in your papers, you get away from obesity, you're going to be, you could find different experts talking about some things that have been done already or could be done to improve cafeteria food. And some of them will be a little bit expensive. Some of them will involve some waste, because we'll put out these vegetables, but then the kids will not eat them and they'll get thrown away. Well, I'm sorry we lost some money, but at least we tried to do something. And so just because we lose money doesn't mean that we're not doing the right thing.